Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today, my first and second hour, I apologize. I'm not going to be here the whole time. Stuff to do, stuff to do. So as I'm in the building, I'm not going to be able to teach you the entire hour, so I'm making this video just for you guys. You guys will have a sheet of paper, looks like this. You need to get this thing filled out. It's going to prepare you for your quiz on Wednesday. Actually, no, Thursday. Scratch that. Thursday is your quiz. Today, we are learning about what was the Spanish-American War. Lots of stuff here to talk about. The whys, the whats, the wheres, the whos. There's some terms you need to know: nationalism, patriotism. You need to know Rough Riders. You need to know the Buffalo Soldiers. You need to know about yellow fever, and quite other things, okay? But today, what I want you to do is I want you to follow along on this wonderful sheet of paper, because we're going to be talking about this stuff 1 through 21 and some stuff in between, okay? So first, let's do a little review here. Everybody in the room, raise your hand if you can tell me how many branches of the military there are. Come on now. Don't be shy. Raise your hands. Tell the substitute how many branches. I'll wait. Good, yes, there's 6 branches of the military. We got the Army, we got the Navy, we got the Marines, we got the Coast Guard. You know all these, okay? We participated in activities that demonstrated all of these wonderful branches of our military. Now that's out of the way, let's get to today's lesson. The Spanish-American War illuminates 2 major terms: patriotism, nationalism. So we need to talk about what these mean. Go to number 2, because number 2 is going to illustrate the difference between these two by using pride as the focal point of what patriotism versus nationalism is, because they both deal with pride. So let's talk about your pride. For number 2, I want you to write something down that you're proud of about yourself. You might think this is cheesy. No. I want you to do this because we're going to allude to this later. Because there's something that you're proud of. Could be your video game skills. Could be your academic ability. It could be your effort. It could be your wonderful ability for gift of gab. It could be your musical ability. It could be whatever it is. It could be how you treat your brother or sister. It could be how you do work around the house. Whatever you are proud of, write that down for number 2. And you got to have something. And I'm going to give you a moment to do that. You can push pause if you want, substitute. But go ahead and write down what are you proud of yourself. Hit that pause button, and whenever you guys are done with that as a class, you can play me again. Okay. So you wrote down something proud of you about yourself, and you should have something. At 13, 14 years of age, at 53, at 3, you should have something about yourself that you can say, yes, I am proud that I do this, that I am this, that I create this. But that doesn't mean you have perfection, right? So I want you to write down something that you can improve about yourself. You wrote down something that you're proud of, and that's awesome. I want you to write something that you want to improve about yourself. This could be your ability to read, ability to do math. This could be how you treat others. This could be myriad of things, tons of different things. Write something you want to improve about yourself. This doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means you're recognizing that there are certain things about you that you could improve upon. And by doing so, you make yourself a better person, a more well-rounded person. And go ahead and push pause on this until you guys write down what you're proud of. Not proud of, what you want to improve about yourself for number 3. I'll wait. Okay. Number 4. And this one's going to take you guys back. You're going to be like, Mr. Snow, I don't have anything. You can find something. I understand the instinct is you're not going to want to write something down. But I want you to write something that Challen Middle School could be proud of for itself. Something we do well. Whatever it is. We provide free lunches. We give good food. Maybe we don't. We have this teacher that does a great job. We have this administrator that does a good job. We have this person that does a good job. We have clean hallways. Whatever it is, something that in Challen Middle School we could be proud of as a school. Write that down. I'll give you guys a moment to think about that and even discuss as a class as to write this down. This would be a good place for discussion. As a class, come up with something that you can be proud of for the school and make it a legit one. Don't make it a roast. Like, we're so proud that we only stink a little bit. Like, that's not, I want a legit thing that Chandler Middle School would be proud of. We got some stuff, I promise you. All right, go ahead and talk about it, write it down, put it on pause, put me on pause until you get that conversation done. Okay, so you wrote something proud about Chandler Middle School. Now, again, to factor into this whole thing, I want you to put something that we can work on. What improvement, and I want this to be legitimate, and I don't want this to be like give free candy to kids every day. That, first of all, that would make the world worse. Cavities and sugar highs and all the other stuff would be bad news bears. I want you to think of something that would actually improve your way of life here at Chandler Middle School. Something that we can actually do, one, like we can't give you guys $1 million a piece. Something we can actually do, and then discuss as a class how we can accomplish it and what would it actually do for the school. Give me the thing you want to change about our school or improve upon, and also talk about how it actually would improve the school. Have this discussion. Talk about this as a class. The substitute can direct this conversation. What can we do to this school to make it better than what it is? And think of something that we can actually accomplish. Go ahead and push pause, and I'll wait. Okay, so you guys just did 2 exercises that dealt with what are you proud about and what you can do to improve, both for yourself and for the school. This right here, that process of recognizing something that you do great and also recognizing something you can improve upon, that factors into the definition of patriotism. So number 6 and 7 deals with 2 different terms. Both of them deal with pride in one's nation. Both of them do. National, pride in one's nation. Patriotism, pride in one's nation. That is where they're the same. Where they're different is a nationalistic view, number 6, is you're proud of yourself for what you are not. In other words, you are proud of yourself because you're not another nation. You're not another group of people. Nationalistic view doesn't look into the past, and if it does look into the past, it changes it to make them look better. In other words, nationalistic view of our society would be the lost cause myth, that the Civil War took place, it had nothing to do with slavery, the slaves enjoyed being slaves. We talked about this baloney before. So that's a nationalistic view. Nationalistic view is like having a house and saying my house is the best because it's my house. It doesn't define why your house is the best. What it does is it just says it is the best because it's your house. That's a nationalistic view. There's no room for change because you're perfect because that's who you are. A patriotic view is what you just did. You went in and you talked about what you're proud about yourself, what you're proud about the school, but then you looked at improvements that you could do for that particular thing, school or yourself. That's a patriotic view. You look into the past, you recognize the bad stuff, and you are willing to change it for yourself and for your country. Patriotic view is you're proud of yourself because of what you do and what you could be. It's not about you're proud of yourself because of what you're not and what you don't acknowledge. So we talked about the difference between patriotism and nationalism. One is a view that nationalism, that you're proud of yourself because you're better than everybody else. You're better because you say so. Patriotism is identifying the things that make you great and also identifying the things that you can improve upon, which can lead to a better nation. The way I look at this is basketball. So for those people that like LeBron James, good for you. He's always going to be second or third place in the history of all basketball players because Michael Jordan was the best. And just factually, that's just not my opinion. It's just what it is. But when he was playing, his top scoring seasons of all the seasons he played were the seasons he didn't win the championship. Because he realized it's a team effort. And when he started working as a team and his scores went down individually, his team won the championships. He was 6-6 in the finals. LeBron is like 4-10. So you're going to see here that the pride of trying to do well for yourself is only going to get you so far, especially when you're talking about community, you're talking about society, you're talking about country. Now, we're going to get into this idea of pride in the Spanish-American War. But to do that, you have to understand the empires of the past that no longer exist today. So one empire was the Roman Empire. They took over pretty much all of Europe, going to the steppes of Asia. They also took parts of North Africa as well. But they fell apart. And the reason why they fell apart is heavy taxes, too many wars, barbarians attacking from within, political instability. They fell apart because of that. British Empire. They controlled most of the world to a certain degree with their colonies and their ability to manage the seas. But they're going to fall apart because of political instability, revolutions, and lots of wars. You're going to see this stuff pop up a lot. The Communist Empire, if you want to call it an empire, took over Russia, China, Cuba, and most of Asia and the eastern part of Europe. But it gets broken apart because of constant wars, political instability, and you see it's the same story over and over again. Spain was just like that. Spain was dominant in the Western world. When we started sending ships over here, with Columbus and everything, they started taking over Southern and Northern America. They could colonized over here and dominated over here. But over the years, they lost more and more of their land through revolutions and other things. Their empire was about to be completely destroyed. And Spain's pride said, we need to hang on to our imperial power. This is going to lead into Spanish-American War. Their pride is going to lead to it. So there's this thing, number 9, the de Lome letter. I want you to think of like you see a text message from a friend to another friend. So friend A sends friend B a text message. Friend B shows you the text message. And it's friend A just talking smack about your brother, sister, mom, or dad. Like just the whole message is just talking crap about your family members. Even if you hate your brother, sister, mom, and dad, you're going to have an instinct of don't talk about my family. I can make fun of them. But you can't write a text message to one of my other friends making fun of my family. They're my family. I get to make fun of them. The de Lome letter was a letter that Spain wrote that we got a hold of that basically was making fun of our president, McKinley. McKinley wasn't a popular president, but he was our president. So because this de Lome letter was making fun of our president, McKinley, America goes, hey, we don't like him, but he's our guy to make fun of, so shut up. So it gave us a bad sense of who Spain was, and it gave us conflict to start. Number 10. That letter wasn't enough to push in the war. There was a ship called the USS Maine. USS Maine. It gets blown up, destroyed, completely decimated. Now, we blame Spain for this. There's no evidence that directly ties Spain to this destruction of the ship, but since we already didn't like them, and it was in a territory that they kind of controlled, we go, yeah, Spain did it. And it made a bunch of people go, let's bring it, because you can't destroy a ship on our watch, right? Even though we don't have evidence that they actually destroyed the ship. So yeah, the USS Maine gets destroyed, and boom, we're a little upset. 11. So we had economic reasons for doing this war, not just political ones, economic ones. The Philippines. The Philippines are located in Asia, and us having control of some of those islands would allow us easier trade with Asia. They got spices, they got silk, they got materials that our country wants. So we had an economic reason for doing this war. It's not the only reason, but it is a reason for doing this war. So there's a pride element to there too, and there's also a economic reason for us doing this, wanting to get the Philippines, because it's going to give us that route to Asia. Now we're going to get to what the president said. So the president gave a bunch of reasons for doing this war. One, he goes, we should fight this war to maintain peace. I want you to think about the logic in that. We should do something that's not peaceful to maintain peace. It's a little odd. I'm going to break this chair to fix the chair. He also said that we're doing it to civilize, was the word he put, the people of the Philippines, He also said that we should do this war to liberate the people of Cuba. So he had other reasons, and also, to defend our country, because he thought the USS Maine was destroyed by the Spanish-American War. So it was defense. It was to create peace by waging war. It was to help the Cubans out and to civilize the Filipinos. Those were his reasons. Okay, so we get into war, and if you go to 13 and 14, we're going to talk about two groups of people that were just like top notch in the war. The first one was the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders were led by a guy named Teddy Roosevelt. He's on my wall up there above the TV. He's our president of the United States, was the president of the United States. He was not a president during this time. He's going to be president in about a decade, not even that. Anyway, he goes into this as the leader of the Rough Riders. Now, these guys trained on horseback while they're here in America. The whole time, trained on horseback. These guys are supposed to be the elite guys. That's why they're called Rough Riders, trained on horseback. Well, the problem is the U.S. didn't build their boats in a way that allowed the horses to actually get on land. So the problem with that is they had to push the horses off the boat into the water, into the Gulf of Mexico. And when they did that, the horses sometimes would swim, sometimes they'd drown, sometimes they'd swim in the opposite direction. At the end of the day, these Rough Riders were down to almost no horses. So you train to fight on horseback, and guess what? You don't have horses anymore. Good luck fighting. The other group was the Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers were pretty much predominantly all African American. And the reason why they're called Buffalo Soldiers is they fought in the Indian Wars. And in the Indian Wars, they were such great soldiers that the Native American tribes they fought, their enemy, named them the Buffalo Soldiers because they gave them that respect. The enemy, the Native Americans who were fighting the Buffalo Soldiers, called them the Buffalo Soldiers because that name, Buffalo, that animal, was a sign of spiritual respect, and that was from the enemy. So go Buffalo Soldiers. They were actually the top elite force, mostly because they were battle tested. They've been fighting the Native Americans in the Indian Wars for years now. They're battle tested. They know how to fight. So when they go down to Cuba, they're beasts. Like, they're taking charge. They're taking out people. There is a battle that takes place, and it's a hill that needs to be captured. And the Buffalo Soldiers, they are the ones that took the hill. Okay, understand, having the high ground, we talked about this before, is a super, super important advantage. We talked about it in the Civil War. During Gettysburg, the Union had the high ground. It's a significant thing to have. Without that, it's going to be hard to win the battle. You're just going to lose a lot more lives, more likely than the other side. Well, the Buffalo Soldiers did not have the high ground, but they took the high ground. And when they got to the top of the hill, here comes the Rough Riders with Teddy Roosevelt. And the Rough Riders take credit for what the Buffalo Soldiers did. They get a nice little picture in the newspaper like, "Hi, Mom." And the Buffalo Soldiers get no respect in that particular aspect. So let's talk about a couple of the battles. There's a battle called Manila Bay. Manila Bay would be the equivalent of our 8th grade football team going against the seniors in high school. The U.S. are the seniors in high school, and the 8th grade football team is the Spanish. And here's why. The Spanish had more ships, absolutely. The problem is they had 8 wooden ships, and we had 7 steel ships. Wood burns, and it's really easy to break down. Steel, it's durable. So this battle takes place with these 7 steel ships of the United States and 8 wooden ships of the Spanish, and it's just a rout. We beat them. It's again, seniors in football playing 8th graders in football. I don't care how fast you think you are, you're going to lose. So that's one battle. The other one is the Battle of Santiago Bay, which was just, like an utter defeat on the other side. We lost 1 soldier that was killed in action. One soldier. The Spanish lost 323. We also captured like 400 others. So that was another battle where it wasn't even a close call. We just annihilated them. The number one killer was not bullets. It wasn't stabbings. It wasn't explosions. The number one killer was disease. Disease is pretty much going to be the number one killer all the way up to when we get to modern warfare. Modern warfare changes the game because our medicine gets updated. Our ability to logistically transport medicine to the front lines changes it. But right now it's disease. One of the diseases that transpired during this particular war was yellow fever. I want you to imagine you're continuously vomiting and having diarrhea. I want you to imagine that you get yellow spotches all over your body. I want you to imagine you have aches and headaches. I want you to imagine just the worst feeling ever. That's yellow fever. And it cost the lives of men, and it just caused the unbelievable torment of men that were in fighting for our country. So we got some things out of it, and it came at a cost. You see, we went to war. It was a small, short little war. And afterwards, there's this meeting. This meeting takes place with the one and only Spanish, Cubans, United States, and a couple others. Except we kicked the Cubans out of the meeting room. We're like, don't worry, guys, we got your back. And after the meeting, we take a spot of land in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay, which we'll talk about later. And we also take another slice of land, Hawaii. We annex Hawaii. We get Hawaii as a state, basically, from this war. They don't actually become named a state later, but right now this is the legwork to make it become a state. We also get parts of the Philippines, which we keep for quite a while. So that's the end of the war. We get Hawaii and some other places. So what's the cost? What's the death toll? There's 355 people that are going to die from actual combat on the U.S. side. 355. And I'm not trying to sound unsympathetic to the people who died, because still people dying. But 355 people is significantly less than any other war you can imagine. It's a really small war. It's basically a few week battle. Now, how many died of disease? 2,000, about 61. 2,061 die of disease. So you can see the biggest killer of this is disease. Period, point blank. I'll be back. Is going to be an oversimplified version of, simplified video of the Spanish-American War. So substitute on the iPad is going to be, there's going to be another tab that says oversimplified. Simply just going to play that for the students, and then they'll watch that for the remainder of the hour. Peace out.